All right, and greetings, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You're on to Augustine, and this is another live section of the Sbcedu. And I'm going to be making a quick review on the activities of week 20 today. So please do well to like this channel if you haven't liked it yet, and then do well to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. This channel is dedicated to the Simply Brilliant community. So everything that is happening in this channel is a review of the performance of our community with regards to the English section of this community. So if you do enjoy the activities of this community and you are looking forward to seeing that, yes, we access the funding, there should be an attitude that you play out. So one of those attitudes is liking this channel and then making positive comments. And also, if you haven't subscribed, do well to subscribe. Now, we are slowly moving to the point where we will need people to communicate and then give us feedback on our live section. So please, if you are listening to me and you want to, please make your comments before this video comes to an end. I will review the comments and I would answer it if it's a question. If it's a feedback, positive feedback, do so. We need to get feedback from you. This is the third time I'm making this live presentation, and we have to start getting activities from the community at large. Okay, so with that said, now we are beginning. So this is last week's episode, which is week 20. So we're going to take our time to look at it one step at a time and then answer all the questions. So this is I begin. So before I do begin, I would like to acknowledge the 3 people that are presently here with me. And I have seen one person make a feedback, and I'm going to also update the community so that you'd see the number of people who are showing positive feedback. All right. So with that said, let's begin. Please do well to get ready, tighten your seatbelts, and listen. Now, like I previously said, this is a presentation that is applicable to other languages because it's a particular model we are using. The questions that apply to number 1 is the same with other languages. Same thing with other questions, 1 to 15. It's also applicable to other languages. So wherever you are, whichever language, if you can hear English, and then number 1's answer is A, it's also A in your own. So everyone is welcome to watch. And then over time, other languages will also feature. They have the way they go about their thing, okay? So based on the directive of the administration, I'm making this presentation so that people can watch, and those who have challenges can address those challenges, all right? We don't want to continue having failings. I do not know why people are failing, but probably they don't understand English. I don't know what the problem may be, but we want to see if we can address it. All right, so proceeding. Questions and answers for week 20. A detailed and comprehensive explanation of week 20. Week 20 questions and answers. Week 20 questions and their answers. All right, so proceeding. I move to the first question. The first question says, what are the 4 critical characteristics of money? Number 1, spendability, weight, color, shape. Now, these are also probably characteristics of money, but not the kind of intrinsic characteristics that gives it value long term. Number 2, which is B, A, spendability, weight, color, shape. B, durability, portability, divisibility, and global acceptability. That's the answer. And then C, visibility, simplicity, tradability, transferability, and then D, durability, stability, transparency, value. So the answer is B. Okay. Now moving over to the next one, which is slide 2. Slide 2 says, what is the primary mission of the Simply Brilliant community? Number 1, A, to replace Bitcoin with SBCG. Now let's look at A. Even though A is not the answer, to replace Bitcoin with SBCG. Bitcoin is the government adopted alternative to the debt-based financial system. Bitcoin is finite and the paper money system is infinite. When the central banks print money, they devalue the available money and they rob the citizens of their purchasing power. And then with Bitcoin being finite, all they have to do to replicate the control that they're having over the paper system is simply by having the lion's share, or ensuring that the lion's share are domiciled in the hands of the corporations, the hedge funds, institutions, and banks and all that. That's what they are doing now. That's exactly what they are doing. There has been authorization by the governments, the presidents, whoever it is globally. They are now beginning to adopt Bitcoin. Come to think about it, they were fighting Bitcoin, called Bitcoin's names, insulted it. Now, after all this, they are now buying it and they are now working with it. Now, as more and more people adopt Bitcoin, it becomes a central system. It becomes an in-house system. And slowly they start dropping the paper money. That's where you will notice over the next 5 to 10 years that money will lose its complete purchasing power. And those who are holding on to money, paper money, they are going to be the ones that will suffer the heat. The world is now moving into a digital system. Now, what we are going to do is to correct the mistake of Bitcoin. What Bitcoin did was of itself what it was supposed to do. Now, Bitcoin does not have the ability to say, you are not going to use me or you will use me. Bitcoin is a system and it's 21 million. And anyone who can mine Bitcoin and mine the lion's share, then it gives the person the potential benefits. In fact, even the kinetic benefits. And that's what the governments of the world are doing. The United States has, whether it's by hook or by crook, has been able to amass a substantial amount of Bitcoin. They tend to be the ones that have the highest amount of Bitcoin outside of Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, Satoshi Nakamoto is still not known, and I'm still of the opinion that is the secret intelligence agency of the federal of the United States of America. Now, I may be wrong, but if I am right, then that means the United States, in a way, are still retaining their global dominance and having the central control, the dominant currency of the world, meaning that they have the lion's share of Bitcoin. Now, what we are simply going to do is, as we grow in our membership over time, and then we begin to use SBCG as a utility token. SBCG is a utility token. As at now, if you have been familiar with our private membership association, I've clearly said it by the administration that SBCG is a utility token. SBCG will be used on a peer-to-peer notes. Now, SBCG is governed by a private membership association, and you can buy SBCG by swapping for USDT. When you swap for USDT, you will be able to have SBCG. Now, with the launch of our funding, we are going to have other ways you can acquire SBCG, such as staking SBCG. And then other ways will also be by using SBC to buy SBCG in limited amounts. But with consistency, you can acquire a substantial bunch of SBCG. So SBCG is not likely going to leave our system. SBCG will be used on a peer-to-peer note within members and merchants of our community under private contract agreements. That's the simple principle that SBCG will apply. Now, as long as real men and women from across the world are joining our community and using SBC to interact with the real world. Remember that SBC is our tokenized gold system. So you can use it to interact with the real world, pay your utility bills, and do other things. Okay? Now, SBCG will be our in-house way of preserving wealth. Now, as long as a system is not leaving its central system, it will keep gaining value. Now, for instance, if you are having SBCG and then you sell it against USDT, the price will go down. But then if you don't sell it, it remains up. Now, we will launch our private funding system. And with the launch of our private funding system, we're going to have currency pairs, SBC slash SBCG. We'll also have SBFC, SBC slash SBFC2. So within that currency pair, there will be limited amounts of swapping for SBCG. And also when we launch our SBFC2, there will also be limited amounts of swapping. And according to the plan, our SBCG will not be allowed to drop more than 15% in a whole day. That's the concept that our private funding will adopt. So at any given day, the price will keep going up. Why? Because members of the community who will not be having access to the funding will make it a habit of buying SBCG every day because they know that the price will continue going up. So they do a certain amount, probably a $10 purchase. The system will likely limit it to $10 at the initial stage. And then if we are having about 100 to 1,000 people who are taking part in SBC and then using it in the public world, using it to access the funding, some of them will decide to use a $10. And then that will mean a huge level of volume for SBCG every day. Now, there will also be room for people to withdraw. But like I said, the rate of withdrawal versus inputs is going to look like a ratio of 5:3. So, conclusion, as more members join us in this community, we will slowly return the power because Bitcoin failed to return the power, as it said in the white paper, where it's going to break the control of centralized system. The elites, the powers that be, saw the wisdom behind Bitcoin and they decided to take advantage of it. So they just continued that system. You can't tell me you have up to 1 Bitcoin. Those number of people who will be watching this video, if you have up to 1 Bitcoin, that's beautiful. But the truth is that a very good number of majority of the citizens globally don't even have and can never be able to afford 1 Bitcoin any longer because Bitcoin is being manipulated by the system and they will plan to keep the price of Bitcoin going up. And it's out of the reach of the ordinary man. But with SBCG, well, we are going to make it in such a way that the progress will be very gradual and members of the community will have access to it. It will be accessible to everybody. And it's going to be such that you can't manipulate SBCG, no matter how you try. If you have so much of SBCG, you will not be able to manipulate it against the person that who don't have much. So there's going to be a check and balance system through the private exchange that we are going to create. Okay, so SBCG will be a way to return the power to the people. All right. So the question now comes up: what is the primary mission of the Simply Brilliant community? Now, one of its intents is what? To return the power. Bitcoin is one of the alternatives that was created, but it has been compromised. So it has lost its intent of returning the power to the people. But then with SBCG, yes, we will be able to achieve it. Now, to restore power to the human race through financial empowerment. Now, this is a generic word, true financial empowerment, because our 3 instruments will be SBC, SBCG, and SBFC2. SBC will be used to interact with other people. I mean, every country of the world can use SBC. It's tokenized gold. Gold is gold, but this time it's tokenized, much like the way Larry Fink has been saying, which is one of the senior men that are behind BlackRock. They are saying they will tokenize everything. Well, I hope they are able to do so. However, in our system, We're also going to create a tokenized system that will work alongside with the current financial system. And we're also going to build systems where you and I will not lose our financial sovereignty. You and I will not lose our financial assets. As long as you are a member of the community, there are plans that we have to protect ourselves from what these evil people are trying to do to humanity. So as long as you are in the community, you are protected. Okay. So the answer is we are returning the power to the human race. All right. Now, human race does not matter which continent you are from. As long as you're a community member, you will enjoy those privileges. Now, to build government-backed banks to increase inflation globally. So the answer is B. I have to take my time to explain it. Okay. So let's proceed. Now, I'm now in slide 3, right? So that's slide 3. So according to slide 3, okay, I talked about slide 2. I think I've done that. What's the primary mission? All right, so now slide 3. So with slide 3, according to the SBC perspective, what is the fundamental difference between money and currency? Currency is older than money. Money is only gold. Currency is not. Now let's look at it together. Currency is older than money. Money is older than currency. Currency is man-made. Money is made by God. Money is made by God. Currency is a receipt on the money. Okay, that's what the beginning of paper money. It started as a receipt to the gold that are being held by the blacksmiths or by the banks or whatsoever. That's what paper money is. And it was the sole right of the banks or whoever it is that were having full custody over the gold to create a receipt. But when time passed, things happened, and people kept interacting with the receipts as a medium of exchange until Richard Nixon did what he did and then cut off the association to gold, and then did not make it in such a way that the paper money or the paper receipt could not contend anymore. He created a divide between the paper money system and the gold-backed system. He tried to blind the people from the truth. Now, if he did that, he should have continued with his system. But the truth is, he understood that the system will continually be debased. And he knows that their carelessness, they wouldn't want to take responsibility. So they want to shift it to the people. Therefore, they make it even more difficult for people to access gold. And I can say this very boldly, and I want you to listen to me. The price of gold has been going up recently. Now, the elites will not allow humanity to have access to this gold. They are going to create measures to make it impossible for people to trade gold. They are going to create capital controls. They are going to create CBDCs. They are going to create a kind of large taxation and make it so impossible for people to trade gold because they don't want to take responsibility. Rather, they want to shift the responsibility to the citizens. Now, the price of gold will keep going because a number of people are going to gold to hold it as safe haven. Well, I won't say people. I would rather say the governments and the banks are doing that. So when you are seeing price movement, it is because the governments and the banks are preparing for a paradigm shift. That's why you are seeing that happen. The individual, the ordinary man, when you give an individual $10,000 and you give the same person an ounce of gold, the person will go for $10,000, which is pure ignorance, because that ounce of gold that you are giving him in the next 5 years will be worth 2 times the $10,000. That $10,000 in the next 5 years will be worth half of the present value it is. People do not know what money really is. And the elites, the system, the educational system are doing everything to keep the people away from knowing the truth. And I am here to tell you the truth, that money is a God-given system. And what they are trying to do is they are opposing the ways of God. Because if you use money, there will be no wars. The amount of gold that is in circulation or on this earth is so limited that you cannot use it and then maintain a stable economy and still have excess to go and fight wars. So the intent of God is to see that we exist with each other in peace, love, and respect. But the truth is, power intoxicates and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So they would not want to stop domineering. They wouldn't want to stop dominating. That's why they will keep doing what they are doing. That's why there will be cycles of ups and downs. But in our system, we are creating a system of peace. You can't use our currency to fight wars. That's the truth. You can't use our currency, SBC, to do those things. And as long as they keep debasing the paper money system and creating a system where they rob the people of their money, and then a totalitarian system where the people won't have a choice, naturally people will move away from that system and will move into our system. They may not have as much SBC as you and I, who are founders, have, but ultimately the trajectory is going to move towards the point where the people will lose confidence in the system, lose confidence in the money, lose confidence in the government, lose confidence in everything that the system created. And after they've been robbed completely, maybe they may get to realize it late, then they join us. But when they join us, they are certain that they will not suffer the way the elite has intended them to suffer. So we are the solution. That is the gospel truth. The elites do not want the people to know this thing. Okay? So SBC is tokenized gold. The elites at some point will create capital controls, will create CBDs. CBDCs is such that you will not be able to do transaction with people who own gold because it is programmable money. All right, that's CBDCs. And then they will also create high taxes. They will make it impossible to, when you do a transaction, there's reporting. There is a transaction charge required of you when you transact with gold. If it was 22%, they would increase it to probably 50%. And it becomes even more than 50%. They may make it 70%. So you find out that you end up giving more money to the government instead of you having the control, even instead of you having the money, and it becomes impossible. So you'll be trapped in their system. That's what they are going to do. And that's why intentionally we created tokenized gold, where the gold will not live where it is. And then we are going to have a representation of that gold in fractional values, which is our grains of gold. That's the SBC you have. And with that, they don't have a law around it. And that's why we're going to wow the wisdom of this evil system. And that's why we're going to prevail. Those who are listening to us, who are listening to me, and who will listen, do not take our community for granted, because we have the wisdom of God. And with that wisdom, we will override this system over time. So let's go back to the question. We're in number 3. It's necessary I go through all this so that people will know where they are and they stay strong. Currency is older than money. No, money is older than currency. Currency is man-made, and then money is made by God. That's why it's scarce. That's why it's limited. There is gold and there is silver, intentionally by God. One is more available than the other. That's silver. Now, gold is more scarce, and God created it that way so that people can be able to interact with each other on that frequency. Now, our system is designed on gold alone, not silver. And then the way we've designed our SBC blockchain, you can do minute transactions so little, so very little, that you can do as little as 50 cents. That's why you are having SBC and you're having SSBC. That's the concept. So that it will be easy for people globally to interact with each other without having difficulty in divisibility. Okay? Proceeding. Money is only gold. Currency is not. That's the truth. Money is only gold. Well, there is silver, but regarding this, currency is not. Currency is man-made and it's inflated away, provided you are diluting the available supply, which the governments perpetually do, due to their irresponsibility and their indiscipline. Currency is a medium of exchange without intrinsic value, while money retains value. That's the answer to the question. Currency is local, money is international. No, currency is kind of local, but when you look at the United States currency, which is the reserve currency, it's currency, but it's also international because it's the global accepted currency. Due to after the Bretton Woods standard, then they moved into the petrodollar system, which has ended. Petrodollar system ended 2024. That was when it ended. And that's why dollar is losing so much of its purchasing power. And then governments globally are ditching the dollar. Over the next 5 to 10 years, the dollar will really lose a lot of its purchasing power. I'm not saying the dollar lasting more than 15 years from now. It may even happen much faster. And they are aware. That's why they are making sure that they use Bitcoin as an alternative. And people are not aware. People still think it's business as usual. Don't allow the system to get you locked up. Act before it's too late. All right, so now we're moving to the next question, which is number 4. So, number 4. Why has gold historically been preferred over silver? Gold is easier to mine. I don't think so. Gold is scarcer and retains higher perceived value. That's the answer. Now, silver has no monetary value. Silver does. Now, governments prefer gold for inflation. Well, governments don't like gold because it will limit their control. And that's God's own way to be responsible, to be careful about your expenses, and to be accountable. They don't want to be accountable. They just want to do their thing. And then when they are done, they pour the blame on the citizens through higher taxes. They pour their blames to the people through devaluing the currency they have in their banks. I don't know what to say about the government, but I don't like the idea of what government has always been doing. From time immemorial, it's been the same thing. And with the rise of our community coming into center stage, we're going to shrink the control of the government because the people will prefer our system. After they've been robbed, those who get to know about it late will get to know about it much later. And humanity will come to us. This is inevitable. This is something that cannot be changed. It may take some time, but over the next 10 years, I can tell you that there will be so much devaluation of the currency. If they haven't ditched it by then, it's going to be so devalued that if you're having $10 million now, in the next 10 years, it's going to be about $500,000 in purchasing power. Check out the difference, 10 million, 500,000. That's how bad it's going to be. So the earlier you acted, the better. So we're going to the next one, which is 5. So 5 says, now what was the outcome of the Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944? It ended gold-based currencies. It pegged the US dollar to gold and established the IMF and the World Bank. That's the intent of what they want to do. Control, and then absolute control. Okay? Now, it created cryptocurrency. It branded silver in trade. So the answer is B. Right? So moving to number 6. Number 6 says, what did President Nixon do in 1971 that changed the financial system? He just made an announcement and it took about 10 to 20 years to create so much disaster that humanity now is at the edge of being imprisoned by the digital system they're about to create. So that's why it's good for people to pay attention. All right, so introduced Bitcoin, launched the IMF, ended the gold standard for the US, made gold illegal. You see, if the United States were responsible, if the United States managed the dollar that they were having, and they were not printing carelessly, there wouldn't have been need for them to do that because the dollar was pegged to gold and countries were demanding for their gold. So they had to do a swap, meaning that since it was swappable for $1, yes, but then it was the carelessness of the United States. And it doesn't just apply to the United States alone, it applies to global governments. They have this thing for power and they have this thing for being irresponsible. And it's disgusting, it's irritating, it's very annoying. The funny thing is that you don't challenge the system. You don't. If you do challenge the system, you will be arrested and you will be imprisoned. So you don't come out plainly to challenge the system. Now, it's unfortunate to see that someone is so irresponsible and the person is full of himself or herself, yet does not want to be corrected. What kind of system would you call that? That's a satanic system. Let's call it what it is. It's not a godly system. It's not a righteous system. It's not a good system. It's a wicked system. And the people are left with no other option than to cooperate, than to align with a system that is causing them to lose their purchasing power, that is raping them of their resources. And they work all their life. And at the end of it, they can't get value for what they have. What kind of wickedness is that? Well, let's proceed. The purpose of this community is to return the world to balance. And those who will stay will understand. It's not going to come on a platter of gold. You must take time and persevere. All right? So we're going to the next question, which is number 7. All right? So I do appreciate the feedback of some of us that are in my video. You're looking through and you're giving me feedback. Well done. So number 7 said, what type of monetary system emerged after the gold standard was abandoned? Sound money? No. Sound money is gold, silver. Silver-backed system? No. Fiat currency? Fiat currency is by decree. That's abracadabra. That's the kind of nonsense. That's the kind of rubbish. And then it's just pitiable when you sit down and see the way the few are controlling the majority. It's the same concept that they're doing for Bitcoin. The few control the majority. It's wickedness. And the painful part of it is they don't let the people know. The people still think all is well. But they can't ask themselves, why is it that every year things get a little bit more expensive? And then every year it gets a little bit more difficult. And every year, no matter how smart they are not able to get break even. Do they not know that there is something behind it? That's a question that I should ask the audience. And then if that's it, so what's your solution? Because it's a matrix that everyone is in. Everyone is in that matrix. I mean, there is no exception. You are either on the side of the government, which is robbing the people, or you're on the side that is being robbed. We are going to change it nonetheless. So the answer for this is number C, which is fiat currency. So we're going to 8. So 8 says, what do governments discourage public ownership? Why do governments discourage public ownership of gold? It's too expensive to store. No. They fear theft. No. Gold limits government monetary control. Yes. As long as gold is in existence and they inflate money, knowing that it will devalue the ones in circulation, the people will go to buy gold. And when they do that, it hedges them against the inflation. Like I have said, when they get to what you call a dire state is where they have used their own hands to destroy the economy by their ungodly actions, by their inflating away and charging unreasonable interest. I mean, they cannot pay the interest on what they have actually borrowed. It will get to the point where they want everyone to go down with them. That's it. They want everyone to go down with them. And it's quite unfortunate. So why do governments discourage public ownership of gold? The answer is gold limits government monetary control. So as long as there is gold, they won't be able to express their freedom as they want to. All right? So that's the answer. The answer is C. So we're moving over to the next one, number 9. So number 9, what was Bitcoin originally intended to disrupt? Farming and agriculture, traditional banking systems, and centralized financial control. Gold trade, stock markets. The intent of Bitcoin was to disrupt traditional banking systems and centralized financial control. But the truth is, Bitcoin came to do what it was supposed to do. And it was not well managed. And these guys knew the potential of Bitcoin. So they had to rally around Bitcoin. And you see this guy called Michael Saylor. He's buying Bitcoin like crazy. You see, you'll be delusional to think, you'll be very delusional to think that saving money to buy Bitcoin is a smart way out. You are being deceived by thinking that you can beat the system in their own game. Bitcoin is no more in the category of the people, because the price of one Bitcoin now is in, it's not possible for one man to have up to $85,000 as at when this video was made. And I also dare to say that before the middle of next year, Bitcoin could be at 150,000. They are manipulating the price of Bitcoin so that they can buy in. And when they are done, they allow the price to shoot up. It's manipulated. No one can afford that. I really wonder how many people can afford to get $85,000 to be able to buy one Bitcoin without affecting their financial resources, without affecting their savings, without being able to live, without it affecting their normal life activities. So the point is, don't buy Bitcoin. If you can listen, rather invest your resources in our community and grow into wealth over time. This is a simple advice. You have a choice to make, whether to accept my advice or go ahead with the system's plan and then enslaving your own self. So the answer for this one is B. That's the answer. Well, moving forward, number 10. We just have a few more to go. So number 10 says, what is one of Bitcoin's core feature according to the white paper? Unlimited coin supply? No. Central banking? No. Finite coin supply of 21 million? Yes, that's the answer. Monthly inflation tracking? So the answer is C. For Sbcg, we have 22 million. That's our supply. And Sbcg will never be in the hands of corporations. It would never be in the hands of these big guys. You see, we outnumber them 1:1,000. The way our plan for Sbcg is, in the next 5 to 10 years, we will rival Bitcoin. In the next 5 to 10 years, let's say in 10 years from now, the reason why we rival Bitcoin is because between now and the next 10 years, the intent of the elites by the World Economic Forum that has been saying you own nothing and you'll be happy will become so obvious. The people will run to us as a safe haven. That's what is going to happen. And then with the volume of people joining us and participating in Sbcg through the education process that will enlighten them about, the price of Sbcg will so shoot up that it's going to be so massive. And since we outnumber them 1:1,000, the price will be so much that it will begin to be at par with the value of Bitcoin. Now, the beautiful part of it is that they will be able to see our blockchain. They will be able to see the price, but it's going to be under private jurisdiction. So they can see, but they won't be able to touch. They will see, but they won't be able to access, except they become members of the community. And they will never want to align themselves with the ordinary man. So what our system is going to do is we are going to set up and adopt the foolish things of this world. The foolish things of this world are human beings who they do not regard, coming together, becoming a formidable force, and breaking the control of the elites. That's what we are going to do. When the administration is saying that our currency will be tax-free, tax-free simply means how the government taxes the people. How they maintain control over the people is by taxing the people. Before, taxation was fair when things were done right, but now it's out of balance. So taxation has drifted from doing what is right, which it was supposed to do, by creating social amenities from the value, from the revenue generated from taxing to keep the system running. They are no more doing that. They are now trying to extort the people, make the people lose their influence, their freedom, their long-term struggles, and then making the people completely miserable. That's what the taxations are. And each time it keeps going up. It keeps going up. And it makes the people a little bit more or less worthy. Makes them a little bit more worthless. That's what they are doing. because they are taking what they've so worked for. That's what they are doing. All right. So we are going to return the power gradually, one step at a time. As long as you are in the community, be rest assured that the future is all yours. All right. Number 11. Number 11 said, what issue did SBCG aim to fix that occurred with Bitcoin's early adoption? Technical bugs, government bans, over concentration of coins among elite institutions. That's the answer. So SBCG will fix that, because the people will adopt our system, and we are not going to interfere with the public. We are going to have our private system with the currency pair SBC, SBCG, SBC, SBFC2, and then people will see what we are doing, just like you are seeing transactions going on in KuCoin and other exchanges. You can see those things. You can also see ours, but you won't be able to interfere. We are private. It's for public, like we have been saying in our PMA. It's like a public road, but only club members pass through it. You want to become a club member, then become a member and a devoted member. You are going to notice there is tomorrow, we are going to be talking about a few things in our final founders meeting for the year 2025. The administration will be releasing a blog, and there are some updates he's going to be giving the community. I would appreciate everybody to be in the meeting to pay attention to the information that he will have. If you are going to access this funding, there must be a level of seriousness and intentionality. Otherwise, well, you'll get carried away. So concentration, over concentration of coins among the elite institution, that's going to be the answer. So now we're going to number 12. And number 12 says, what analogy is used to describe the growth of SBCG? The oak tree in a forest, Bitcoin bull run, Chinese bamboo tree requiring patient and long-term care. That's the concept, Chinese bamboo tree. Because the Chinese bamboo tree does not surface till after 5 years, then it sprouts. Once it sprouts, and then it grows so fast within 6 months that it tends to be the tallest tree within that forest or within the area that is being grown. That's the Chinese bamboo tree. So there is a gestation period of about 5 years. So every member in the community who have persisted has acquired SBC over time. And that SBC has make him potentially valuable with the launch of the funding. And some people will lose their SBC. I'm not saying TBC, I'm saying SBC. Some people will lose their SBC. Now, let me explain. Listen, even though this is not, I'm digressing, but it's something you should know. We are living men and women, and living men and women are supposed to be living, not dead. And for you to be living, you are eating, you are walking, you are doing everything you are supposed to do. That's what makes you a living person, okay? And in our community, we are expecting you to be a living person, meaning that you should participate, you should log into your account, you should be able to watch SBC EDU, you should be able to take the quizzes, and then your account should always stay active. That's what makes you a living person. After you sign the PMA, you will not expire. If you remain active and then you get to your time to access the funding, then after a while, you will not be able to, you will stop paying from your pockets. Now, the SBC you've acquired will now be that which you'll be using to pay. Then, SBC has become tokenized gold. Okay, so the concept of our community has to do with patience. And as you are patient, you are growing, you are building your wealth. Now, a time will come, just like what we are doing now for those that are in TBC. You know, TBC was the beginning of this journey, and then somehow we moved over to SBC. So at this point, individuals who will refuse to, you see, the problem with us is we don't want to take responsibility. That's the problem. We don't want to own up. We don't want to be a father. We don't want to be a mother. But we enjoy conjugal rights. We enjoy things that are in association to parents. Well, we don't want to take responsibility for the products of our actions. That's what these people are doing. So they are being called to come back. You have acquired a certain amount of TBC, come and make it SBC and be accountable until we access the funding. And they say, no, they don't want to be. They don't care. They call you a scam. They say this and they say that. However, after the 1st of this month of January, by the 1st of January, I mean to say, after the 31st of December, those coins will be taken away. It will be permanently wiped out. The database will be shut down. It will be closed. Now, we have another 365 days for members to also prove themselves. There are a lot of irresponsible people in the community, and slowly we are going to cut them off. A number of people who will also move from TBC to SBC and still do nothing. At the end of every year, we do what you call a yearly evaluation to see the living men and women in our community. It's an evaluation. And after we've reviewed, if you are not among the living, then it means your account is not active. It means your account has been inactive for a period of at least 6 to 9 months. It means that you are not showing any form of responsibility. It means you are not building in the system. It means you are not acquiring knowledge. You are not participating in the SBCEDU. So by the 1st of December, 31st of December 2026, what we are doing to people in TBC that will lose it if they don't come to take responsibility, we will repeat it for SBC. And that's going to be a trend we'll keep doing every year until we wipe out the irresponsible ones among us. And then only responsible ones will be among us. And once your account has been flushed, you will have to start again. Let this be made very clear. And I am hoping that this video will be the one that most people will watch, because people have to know the truth. The truth is not sweet. The truth is not beautiful, but the truth will stand the test of time. A lot of people think the truth is so sweet. No, truth is bitter. Truth is very bitter. But you see, it has its own health benefits. And that's why I'm saying this, so that you know. The better, the earlier you know, the better for you. So let's move to the next one, which is number 13. All right. So number 13 says, how long must SBCG token remain in a custodial wallet before they can be swapped for USDT? Now, that was before. We are not swapping for USDT again. Now, this was just to address the question. We are no more swapping for USDT again. Please, let's get this very clear. We are utility token, okay? And before the advent of PMA, probably yes. But at this point, no, we don't swap again. It's a utility token to be used among ourselves for the payment of subscription fee. And then we can also use it for, when the merchant phase starts, we can be able to use it to purchase items from the merchants. And then you can also use it with the launch of our private fund, then swap it for SBC, and then you use SBC in the real world. We are slowly becoming a private community where we do not have anything to do with the public system. We are getting to that point. With the launch of our private funding system, we will create alternatives for members to be able to pay their subscription fee. As at now, it's only USDT. But with the launch of our funding, we'll create other alternatives like SBCG, which we have just started. And then we would also create an avenue for SBFC2 after we've launched our private funding. And then we have been able to raise up to $35,000. And then we've gone through the pre-sale and the post-sale for 6 months. And then we open it out for the rest of the community to go about goodwill. So that would happen in about a year or two from now. So it's going to still take some time. But then you can still use SBFC2 to pay subscription fee. So 3 avenues, SBCG, SBFC2, and then SBC will become means via which you can pay for your subscription fee. We're also going to create other alternatives like using Bitcoin to pay and then using Ethereum to pay. So why we are doing it is because we know that USDT would keep losing its purchasing power with time. We don't know the plans of the elites, but we have an idea. And the best thing to do when you have an idea is to prepare so that you won't be taken aback. So we have to prepare and create other alternative measures. We know that the elite intents are with Ethereum. Ethereum is the elite kind of silver. It has multifunctional purposes. That's why there are several tokens of Ethereum. We can also make room for us to be able to interact with other cryptocurrencies, but it shouldn't be more than 2. Bitcoin is certain. Ethereum is also certain. Probably we'll add one more. I have no idea at this point, but I'm sure that Bitcoin and Ethereum will become alternatives. And then USDT will be there. So 3 of it for the public system. And then for the other 3, which is our SBC, SBCG, and SBFC2. So there's going to be so many avenues via which people can pay their subscription fee and then keep the system running. As simple as that. Okay, so let's proceed. How long must SBCG token remain in the custodial wallet before they can swap for USDT? At this point, it's 3 months. But like I said, going forward, there is no swapping for USDT. It is swapping for SBC, using it in the real world. Okay, so one thing to bear in mind, this is the plan of the community. And if it's going to change, it's going to be slightly modified. But this is the plan of the community. The plan is to make sure that the people in our community who will be accessing the funding will have just enough to interact with the public system. Now, just enough means you wouldn't have more than enough. When I mean more than enough, you may be thinking about buying a car, and then probably you are high-minded, and then or you have value. Let me not say you are high-minded. You have value, and you're looking at buying a house. The worth of the house is about $500 million. And then that's your plan. If in the SBC community, you will be able to achieve it, but you won't be able to achieve it one time. Okay, because the system will create limited access for you in the public space. Limited access, I mean to say, is that you will not have so much, but you have enough to be able to take care of yourself, to be able to pay for your house rents, and then be able to take care of your family and be okay. Now, if you are looking for how to have access to infinite amount of resources, you may have to become a member of the community and put out your goods and services to exchange for SBC, or to exchange for SBCG, or to exchange for SBFC2. So you have limited access in the public space, but unlimited access in the private space. Now, let me still go forward. In the public space, there will be taxation. The government will tax you for the transactions you do. Now, that's normal. And as long as you are dealing with the public space, you are keeping the government system alive. And our system is to return the power to the people. For us to achieve that, we must go internal. We must not go outside. As long as we get to 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, 500,000, 1 million, 2 million. Now, that volume of people doing transactions in the public space is enough to keep the system alive. We don't have plans of keeping the system alive long term. However, we will comply with their terms and conditions for a period of probably 5 to 10 years. Within 5 to 10 years from now, all activities in the community should be internal. There should be no external activity. With that, you can have access to $10,000 transaction as long as both parties agree for exchange of value. You give them what they want. In SBCG, SBFC2, or ASBC, whichever currency of your choosing. Of course, SBC is the coin. The other 2 are tokens. But it's mutual agreements. So this is the goal of the community. We are not building a system where we will be like the public. We are private. We are going to give value momentarily to the public. I mean, give you ability to interact with the public space and make it such that you will be okay. As a matter of fact, when we get to the point where the elite system will create so much surveillance and control, if you do some transactions that are in their tens of millions, then their eyes will be on you. They become very conscious of you because CBDC is not an option. The system will impose it on the people. So there will be so much surveillance on everything. So the moment they see such kind of transactions, their eyes will be on you. And they could send security measures. They could create security measures. They will want to know how you were able to come about such amount of money. And that means we're exposing you. We want to stay silent. We want to stay quiet. We want to stay hidden so that they don't know what's happening until we have returned the power to the great mass of people globally. That's our intention. And this is the strategy. We are going to achieve it that way. All right. I believe I've been able to pass the message. I've said a whole lot in this presentation, sincerely speaking. So let's keep moving. Number 14. What happens if you make a withdrawal during the nurturing period, you can withdraw everything. No, you must restart the nurturing period with the remaining capital. All these are applicable to before, but with now, modifications have now taken place. So when we get to that new phase, you will get to know more about it. So some slight modifications has taken place. But for the purpose of this Sbcedu, the answer is B. And then C means you lose all your SBCG. No interest will be added. Well, let's proceed. So now I'm on the final one. Now this is 15, which is the final one. Now, what is the projected advantage of SBCG over gold in terms of growth speed? Gold grows faster than SBCG. No, SBCG appreciates faster due to high member demand. Yes, and then that's the answer, because a time will come, we'll get to 20,000. With the launch of the funding, we'll get to 20, and the people will see, and then it gets better from 20 to 30, 40, 50. 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, 1 million, 2 million. And then we build, we just keep building. And all these people I'm talking about who will be in the community will also be educated to participate in SBCG. So it's going to be massive. The growth curve for SBCG will be massive. It's going to be so fast that in every year, SBCG will be predicted to appreciate between 10 to 20% every year. Globally, 10 to 20% every year. So if the price is whatever it is, by the end of the year, it should have appreciated between 10 to 20%. If it didn't do so well, probably between 11 to 12%. Now, if it did very well, between 20 to 21% every blessed year. So project it for the next 5 years. If you've been able to acquire, for instance, 500,000 SBCG, and then you project it for the next 5 years, taking into consideration a 10% increase every year, compounding it for the next 5 years, what do you think your worth will be? Compound it for another 5 years, which is 10 years. So that means you are guaranteed of being wealthy if you put money in SBCG and you are patient about it. Okay? I believe I've been able to say all that I'm supposed to say. I've said a lot. I've said a lot in this presentation. And I said it intentionally. And the unfortunate part of it is that the very vast majority of the community will not watch it, because they will look at it and say, it's 57 minutes. It's so long. Yes, I am very intentional on what I do. Everything I do is well calculated. I deliberately hide the truth in plain sight so that the people will never see it. The elites do that. I also do that. Unfortunately, only those who follow through to know will find out the information that are hidden in this video. Please, I would appreciate if you like this channel and subscribe to this channel, because my intent is to bring value to the community going forward. All right, so thank you so much, those of us who have made their comments. So excited. This is Kudo Marling, and then the next one, I don't know, very, very excited. Thank you very much. This is one of the answers. One of them said C. It's a beautiful one. So we've started well. Very interesting education. Thank you, sir. You're very welcome. We've started very well. So I'll be coming your way again probably next week. And next week will be the final one for the year. Thank you so much for those of you who have been here with me. If you can, share the video, let people know, and then get the answers to week 20. All right? So cheers till I'll come your way again next week. God bless you, and bye for now.